The story follows Lisa, a teenage girl who always wakes up on October 19th, 1985, the day before her 16th birthday. Each morning begins the same way. Lisa is woken by her younger brother, Robbie, speaking through a walkie-talkie while playing a pirate treasure game. Meanwhile, outside her window, thick fog covers everything, cutting the house off from the outside world. Downstairs, life appears normal at first. Robbie plays video games. Her mother, Carol, prepares pancakes and asks Lisa to do the laundry, while her father, Bruce, repairs the car. However, Lisa already knows exactly how this day will go. She knows every word her parents will say, every complaint Robbie will make, and every dull moment of the day. This is because Lisa has awakened to the truth and knows that they are trapped in a time loop, reliving the same day again and again. However, her parents and brother aren't aware of it, so Lisa tries to make them understand that they are trapped in the loop, but they don't get it. Instead, Carol repeats every day that her clothes have gone missing from the laundry. Robbie complains that his glasses are missing, and Bruce keeps fixing the car without realizing that it is missing its spark plug. Every night also ends the same way, with the same TV show. Over time, the repetition slowly pushes Lisa toward frustration and panic. So one morning, she decides to act differently from her usual routine, and that's when things start to take a turn. That day, while doing the laundry, the washing machine's lid suddenly slams shut on its own. Scared, Lisa runs back to the living room, where the landline phone rings. But when she answers it, only strange, distorted noises come through the line. Back in her room, Lisa plays her clarinet. Then, suddenly, she could hear the same music coming from across the vent window. Curious, she leans closer, but suddenly she is startled by her mother, once again repeating that clothes have gone missing. That night, Lisa wakes up to the same time, 1:14 a.m., and sees a shadow lingering outside her door. Scared but determined, she opens the door and follows the faint footsteps, which lead her toward the attic. However, just as she reaches the door and is about to enter, it slams shut. Terrified, she returns to her room. The next morning, Lisa wakes to the same day again. But this time, she notices something new. A small basement door, hidden behind the washing machine. However, it's locked. Moments later, she is distracted by a sound coming from the attic. When she goes up, she finds a videotape lying on the floor. The tape shows the day her family first moved into the house. Everyone looks happy, but in the background, Lisa notices a figure standing by the window behind them, watching. Curious, Lisa picks up the Ouija board and asks, "Is anyone here?" Then she asks, "Are you alive?" The pointer begins to move, and in that moment, in the reflection, the same figure is now standing behind her. Lisa screams and runs out of the attic. That evening, Lisa heads to the living room and freezes at the sight of her father sitting on the dining table and smoking cigarettes, while her mother reads a book instead of watching TV, something that was never part of their daily routine. Confused, Lisa returns to her room. That night, she wakes up at the same time again. The same shadow stands by her door, but suddenly it forces the door open and enters. Lisa hurriedly pulls the blanket over her head as a female voice whispers her name. Lisa pleads for it to leave her alone. Then something presses down on the blanket, to which Lisa jolts up screaming, but it's already gone. The following morning, Lisa freezes in terror. Robbie isn't playing video games. Her mother isn't making pancakes. Her father isn't repairing the car. Instead, her dad is furious, threatening her mom and demanding to know where she hid the car's spark plug, while smashing things around the house. Meanwhile, the doorbell rings. Carol answers the door, then a strange man enters, introducing himself as a repairman, and walks straight into Lisa's room. Lisa follows him, and inside, the man asks her when did she start to remember. Confused and scared, Lisa answers, "A week ago." Then Lisa demands to know who he is and what is happening in the house. However, he only warns her to stop resisting the loop and stop responding to the sound. Otherwise, he will harm her family in ways she cannot fathom. Then he leaves. Suddenly, everything resets. Lisa's parents are no longer arguing, but calmly eating their meals, not remembering anything that happened minutes ago. But Lisa remembers everything. Frustrated, she leaves the house and tries to escape the neighborhood on her bike. However, no matter how far she rides, she always ends up right back in front of her house. Later that night, Lisa returns to the attic and tries to communicate with the spirit, but the board doesn't respond. Disappointed, she goes back to her room, only to freeze when she sees someone sleeping on her bed. When Lisa approaches, the girl grabs her hand and begs for help, asking her to look under the floor. Just then, someone starts banging on the door, calling out the name Olivia. And when the door is finally forced open, Olivia disappears, and soon Lisa faints. The next day, Lisa checks the floor and finds a scrapbook filled with newspaper clippings about missing girls over many years. She also discovers a key to the hidden door. Wasting no time, she rushes to the laundry room and unlocks it. Inside, she finds a narrow passage leading to the furnace. Nearby are several containers of carbon monoxide bottles, and several belongings scattered around. And when she picks up a watch, she is suddenly hit with a vision of a girl named Frances being injected and then burned alive. Terrified, Lisa runs back to her room, realizing these are memories from past victims. Later, at dinner, Lisa sees a younger Edgar sitting at the table with them, but no one else notices him. Only she can see him. Then, he turns toward her and warns her to stay away from the living. He reminds her that this is his house, and that he can appear to anyone, anywhere, at any time. He also says he can harm anyone he chooses. As he speaks, the room shifts. Her family suddenly appears dead, their bodies decaying where they sit. Lisa breaks down, begging him to bring them back, saying she can't live alone in this house. Suddenly, everything snaps back to normal. Her family is alive again, and now Lisa understands Edgar isn't just a ghost, but he controls the house. Back in her room, Lisa hears the voice again, and, in frustration, yells for it to leave her alone. Then, she senses someone in the bathroom and goes to check, but it's empty. Then, she notices Olivia's reflection in the mirror. Confused, Lisa reaches out and touches Olivia's face. Instantly, their souls switch, and Lisa finds herself in Olivia's body in the present timeline. Inside Olivia's room, Lisa sees a clarinet identical to hers and newspaper clippings dated 1987. Thereby, realizing that they are already dead, killed by her father through carbon monoxide poisoning. Then, she walks out of the room and sees Olivia's sibling playing video games, her mother preparing food, and her father repairing his car, just like her own family always does. But when Olivia's father suddenly becomes aggressive toward her, Lisa is jolted back to her own timeline, where her family held her, thinking she has been sleepwalking again. Later, Edgar disguises himself as her brother and tricks her into going to the furnace room, then locks her inside, where Lisa finds skeletons and a ring. But as she picks up the ring, the chimney suddenly opens and leads her back into the garage, in a different timeline, where she meets Frances, who is trying to escape. She doesn't know that she is already dead, and says she has been kidnapped by Edgar, but Lisa, horrified, explains the truth. She is already dead, burned alive by him. She shows her the ring, saying that when she held it, it connected them to her timeline. Then she hands her the ring and asks her to wake up. But just as she picks it up, Edgar appears and drags Frances away, while demanding that it's his house. Just then, Lisa snaps back to her own timeline. Then Lisa rushes to the garage and finds a carbon monoxide bottle, finally realizing that her father killed them before taking his own life. In shock, she turns on her mom, blaming her for not trying to save them and screaming at her to wake up. Next, she runs to Robbie's room and says it was their father who killed them. But, to her surprise, Robbie says he remembers now, ever since he found his glasses. He explains they were under his pillow, but he avoided them because he was wearing them the night it happened. Afterward, Lisa goes back to her room and tries to reach Olivia through her clarinet, and they switch bodies once again. Now, in Olivia's room, Lisa urgently warns her to get out of the house. Then she notices a note on Olivia's tablet. In the video, Olivia explains that Edgar once lived in this house. First, he killed his parents. Later, he became a serial killer, kidnapping young girls and burning them alive using carbon monoxide. Years after his death in 1983, his spirit began haunting every family that moved in. Likewise, he possessed Bruce, Lisa's father, and made him kill his family before taking his own life. Now, Edgar's spirit is after Olivia's family. Her father is possessed, while her mother refuses to believe the truth. Then, Olivia shows Lisa the necklace she found a week ago, the object that connected them, and begs Lisa to save her family. Just then, Lisa hears Olivia's parents arguing downstairs. When she goes to check, she freezes. Olivia's dad is furious, demanding to know where she hid the car's spark plug, just like Lisa's own father once did. So Lisa rushes to Olivia's mom and urges her to grab the kids and leave immediately. But that only draws Edgar's attention. Suddenly, he turns toward Lisa. Terrified, Lisa runs outside, screaming for help. However, the man mowing his lawn doesn't hear her. She runs straight into an invisible barrier and collapses. Then Edgar approaches and says, "Ghosts can't leave their house," while wiping the writings off her arms. Next, Lisa wakes in her bed, back in her own timeline. Meanwhile, her mother sits beside her and says she remembers everything now, ever since she found the missing clothes. She explains that she packed those clothes that night because she was planning to escape with the kids. But before they could leave, their father became possessed and killed them. Still, she admits she avoided remembering the truth because it was too painful. Now, exhausted from being trapped in the loop, Lisa goes straight to the garage. There, she confronts her father, insisting he hid the spark plugs on purpose because he knew what he was becoming. So she demands to know where they are. Then, Bruce quietly pulls them out of a paint bucket and puts them back into the engine. Afterward, he starts the car. Soon, his memories return. He breaks down, confessing that he killed his family while under Edgar's control. But soon, their house begins to break loose, slowly transforming into Edgar's old house. Now, realizing they are no longer trapped inside, they rushed out of the house, one after the other. But Lisa, realizing she needs to save Olivia's family, shuts herself behind the door and returns to her room to get back to Olivia's timeline. But as she enters her room, she walks straight into Edgar's timeline, where she witnesses Edgar killing his parents. Shocked, Lisa runs into another room and locks the door behind while calling out Olivia to bring her in. Meanwhile, Edgar's voice echoes, saying he doesn't need her family anymore because he's found someone new for his collection. But when Lisa stood by the window glass and called out to Olivia, they connect. Suddenly, Lisa is in Olivia's body, just as Olivia's father breaks into the room. She quickly hides under the bed. Next, Lisa sneaks to the laundry room, breaks through the wall behind the washing machine, and makes her way into the passage. There, she gathers the victim's belongings. Then she enters the furnace room, mixes the items with the ashes, and calls out to the spirits. Finally, she begs Francis to help. But just then, Olivia's dad, who is now fully possessed, grabs her and drags her away. Later, Lisa wakes tied up inside a car. Meanwhile, Olivia's mom is unconscious in the trunk, and the younger sister is being carried toward the garage. Lisa spots a lighter on the floor. Slowly, she burns through the tape and frees herself. Then, as Edgar gets into the car, Lisa attacks from behind, grabs the keys, and runs out into the rain, throwing them away. However, Edgar pulls out a spare key and lunges at her. But suddenly, Francis appears. Then, one by one, the spirits of the other girls surround him. Together, they drag Edgar's spirit back into the furnace. Finally, the fire consumes him. Soon, Olivia's father regains consciousness. Olivia, safe at last, thanks Lisa. In the final scene, Lisa wakes again to Robbie's voice on the walkie-talkie. And for a moment, she stays still, worried the loop has restarted. But this time, things are different. Robbie wishes her happy birthday. Finally, the day has come and the loop is over. But as she breathes in relief and opens the door, she hears a faint voice calling her name from somewhere else.
With that, the movie ends. Please like, comment, and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.